Good night, everyone. Welcome to our first public safety meeting for this new calendar year. And on behalf of my co-chair, Mr. Abe Treff, who is advised not to speak by his doctor, but he's fine. I'll be speaking. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Zach. I see you are here. Anya, I can't see everyone. So is it Lieutenant Suarez? Is she here?
It's Captain Suarez. I'm texting them now and to see where they're at, but right now we don't have the precinct on the call with us yet.
Okay, so since we haven't got the precinct on the call, tonight we have Mr. Zachary Mayer, Director of Outreach from Department of Investigation. So welcome. You may introduce yourself and go ahead.
Spectacular. So yes, as Florencia just said, my name is Zachary Mayer. I serve as the director of our outreach unit here at the Office of the Inspector General for the New York City Police Department, which is part of the Department of Investigation. A lot of people know a little bit about sort of the oversight world of law enforcement in New York City, but very few people know about our office directly. So, I wanted to take this opportunity tonight to introduce a little bit about what our goals are, what our work looks like here, and sort of compare and contrast what we do compared to the Civilian Complaint Review Board, the CCRB, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of in the past, and also the CCPC, which is the Commission to Combat Police Corruption. So once again, I'm part of the Office of the Inspector General for the New York City Police Department, and I actually want to start by talking a little bit about our formation and how we came about. We were founded as part of Local Law 70 of 2013, so we've been around now for quite a few years, and we've accomplished quite a bit in that time. I'm relatively new to the office, actually. Prior to this, I was with the City Council. I was with our Oversight Investigations Division of the City Council. I joined here, OIG NYPD, in August. And in Local Law 70, it outlines a couple of the main goals for what we are looking to accomplish for our office. And I just want to go through those with you real quick. So, those four main goals are to increase the effectiveness of the police department. So ensuring that the police department is using the resources that they have available to them in the best way possible, right? So that they're working towards increasing public safety and addressing the needs of the community in the best way possible. Our second goal is to increase public safety. So that means hearing out community groups such as yourselves and hearing what your concerns are on your day-to-day basis and finding ways in which the police department can better address those concerns in a way that respects people's human rights, right? Our third goal is one of our most important, if not our most important, which is to protect civil liberties and civil rights, right? There are many communities in the city that have had historically tenuous relationships with the police department, and it is our goal to ensure that while the department operates at its most efficient, is also respecting the civil liberties and civil rights of the citizens of New York City. So that we hold very dear to our hearts, and it's one of our key important goals that we have for our office. And then fourthly, also extremely important, is to establish greater bonds between community groups and the police department. And we want to do that by increasing the confidence in the police department amongst the citizens of the city of New York. So those are our four sort of main goals that we have. And we do that and we accomplish that by a couple of different avenues. And I'll just give you a little bit of a breakdown of our office and how we're sort of situated here. So we have three main units. We have the policy unit, we have the investigations unit, and then we have the outreach unit where I serve as the director. The policy unit conducts sort of those systemic reviews of police department programs, policies, and procedures to ensure that they are, one, abiding by the law, two, respecting civil rights, and three, ensuring that they're operating at the most efficient that they can be. Our investigations unit, on the other hand, handles more sort of traditional corruption complaints. They handle complaints about individual officers. They'll handle sort of when people come to us and bring us ideas, they'll speak with them first, and then maybe that might translate into a policy review, but they're sort of dealing with our complaint hotline. So people can phone in a complaint, they can come in as walk-ins, we'll get complaints about officers. We also get a lot of email complaints, and then sort of our investigations division triages those complaints and figures out where they should go. Some of those, we file for information. So we sort of take them and then we say, okay, let's see if this becomes a trend. And then maybe we might address that from a policy standpoint. Others, we may refer to other agencies. So for example, if a civilian comes to us and complains about discourteous behavior by a police officer, that really falls in line with what the CCRB would investigate, so that we can refer that complaint to the CCRB. Or if it's an allegation of criminality, while we do have criminal jurisdiction because we're part of the Department of Investigation, oftentimes if it involves a specific individual officer, we can refer that to the Internal Affairs Bureau at the police department. So we have all of these avenues to address different concerns, even though our main focus is sort of that systemic high-level policy review. And then lastly, we have the outreach unit. And what I'm responsible for is essentially engaging with community members such as yourselves, with community organizations, nonprofits, with the department itself. I liaise with the department. I come to community council meetings. I meet with advocates and with, just members of the community to understand what your concerns are about the police department. And that means concerns around public safety issues, all the way to concerns you have with the police department specifically. If you have concerns around, abuses of civil rights, or if you have concerns around discourteous behavior, I want to hear about those. And that's why sort of I look to engage with various community groups, whether it be a community board or a nonprofit, and hear what your concerns are from the ground up, so that I can then bring that to my team so that we can address that or hopefully address that. So that's basically a little bit of an overview of my office. I want to hear sort of from you throughout this meeting, sort of hopefully whatever your concerns are from the public safety realm, right? So that's why I'll definitely stay on as long as possible to hear what's addressed. And if you have any questions for me in the meantime, please feel free to you can ask me them now. I don't know if we want to do that closer to the end, but I'm here to address any questions.
Okay, thank you, Zach.
Of course.
So Sean, how's it going?
I don't see any hands raised for questions, but I have one if I could jump in with it.
100%, Sean.
Sure.
Thanks. When you mentioned that you work with community organizations to ensure that they have good relationships with the police precinct, it brought to mind the fact that we have a couple of newer cure violence organizations.
Yep.
And to the extent that they're newer to our community, but they have capacity and experience in that work in other communities, I've been expressing a concern and a hope that we leverage their experience with the community-based organizations that are here that don't have that kind of programmatic experience, but have the deeper roots in the community. And I'll give credit to the precinct for being probably ahead of the curve on making these liaisons happen and these building this network. But I just want to know from you if that's something that your office has sort of facilitated and sort of woven that fabric in other communities, and how you might assist us in making sure that we get that dovetailing to happen.
It's a great question. So generally, when we're engaging with community groups, we're thinking about sort of hearing them out on their issues that they have. We liaise with a lot of advocates that advocate around criminal justice issues, around social justice issues, where they might have had historically difficult relationships with the police department because they're representing marginalized communities, right? So in terms of liaising between a community group and then the police department, right, we like to maintain our independence in terms of we want to ensure that we have a relatively strong barrier between us and the PD, so that community groups know that they can trust us when they bring us their issues. That being said, we do interact with the police department, specifically their community ambassador program. So for example, I can certainly put them in touch with the community ambassador that represents your district, so that they can then have further discussions about how their cure violence program can become better integrated with what resources the PD currently has. And in addition, I would love to engage with them directly and speak with them and sort of hear about their work and figure out ways in which sort of their work either differs or sort of tracks with what other cure violence programs have sort of done in the neighborhood in the past. And certainly would be open to have those discussions. So feel free, I'm sure you have my contact information, feel free to pass it on to them. I'd love to have those conversations and then to figure out who maybe they should speak with in the department. hopefully sort of ameliorate those relationships or just sort of strengthen them, grow them if they don't exist currently.
Okay, that's great. I have very high hopes, given the sense of dedication that they've expressed. There is a hand up from Svi Plotzker, and then Shahid Khan.
Great.
Thank you. That was a very nice presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I would like to know the contact information, if needed in the future off this line. By the way, I'm a board member as well.
Oh, amazing. So here, what I'm going to do? We have this little chat function down here. I'm going to put in my personal email address down here. I mean, well, my work, the email address you can use to contact me directly. So doi.nyc.gov. So that's my email address. I'll give you my cell phone. It's 718-755-9620. Those would be the best ways you can reach me if you ever want to discuss any issues. And then you can sort of bypass the traditional channels of just like filing a complaint or emailing our general hotline. So anyone, please feel free to call me at any time. I'm always on my cell, so I can always be reached, or shoot me an email.
Thank you so much.
Of course, of course.
Thank
Shahid,
you.
you also had a hand raised.
Shahid, are you muted? Unmute yourself. Is he muted?
Let's see.
Shahid, we should be. There you go. There you go.
Okay. So actually, we are also a non-profit organization. We are working in the community, and we are working with the 70th Precinct Clergy Interfaith Council. I'm their vice chairman. So,
Okay.
So are you a community interaction-based organization on behalf of NYPD, or you are directly work with community, or you are directly work with NYPD? So how we can make a working relation with you?
That's a very good question. So, and a very important one to clarify. So the Office of the Inspector General for the New York City Police Department is independent from the NYPD. We are not part of the NYPD. We are part of a separate law enforcement agency called the Department of Investigation. So when we're liaising with the community, right, we're liaising independent from what the NYPD would be doing. That doesn't mean that there aren't instances in which there may be some overlap there, but we are the oversight body for the NYPD. So we really take that independence very seriously. So that's very important. But just as it's very important for the police department to engage with, clergy members, with clergy council members, things along those lines, right? I also really like to engage with those groups as well. So now that you have my contact information, please feel free to email me, and I would love to engage with your group and speak with various clergy and hear about issues in the community and whatnot. So I'm here to speak with you guys whenever you'd like. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Yes. So I just sorry, with the permission of the committee chairperson, so can you? So we can invite you in our programs also, and you come and give us some motivation to the community, or you like at the precinct, we invite the 7 Precinct Community Affairs Bureau, the youth officers, so they come and they trained us and they talk with our youth, our community regarding the basic needs of safety and security and everything. So you are also that kind of organization?
Absolutely. So our agency, again, one of our key goals is to increase public safety, right? So as you're mentioning, if the YCO, I'm sure you're talking about the YCO program, which is part of the NYPD, the youth coordination officers, right? So they're going to go and engage with the youth to hear about issues, crime concerns that they have. Similarly, we like to hear about those because I like to keep track of that citywide so that I understand what areas in the city are having large issues. And if it's surrounding youth problems, great. I want to hear about that. So very much so. I would love to engage with kids, right? And hear what their concerns are and hear from the ground up, right? Hear from the kids who are experiencing those issues in the streets. I want to hear from them. So very much, please feel free to invite me to any of those meetings. I can't promise that I'll be able to make all of them because I cover citywide. I'm not just one precinct, right? I have to address concerns all over the city. So I'm pretty busy in terms of going to different meetings, but anytime someone invites me to something, I always endeavor to be there. So please feel free to send me invites and I will do my best to attend.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, nice to meet you.
We're going to be roping you into a lot. We've got a nonprofit roundtable where I think that you would add and gain value, and our 14th annual youth conference is about to hit the planning stage, and then there are a number of people on this call who represent community-based organizations who might want to bring you in directly. So,
Great.
you know, citywide or not, I think, you know, we'll try to keep you busy locally here.
That's good. And my family's from Brooklyn originally, so I gotta say I have a soft spot for you guys. So you know, always, I'm always partial to Brooklyn. So anytime I get my chance to go out there, I will be there 100%.
Thank you.
Of course.
And Florencia and Abe, just to make sure, I think I don't see any other hands up for additional questions for Zach, if you want to move to the other part of the agenda. And Zach, if you can hang out and listen in some more, that would be great. And when you got to go, no one's holding you against your will. So thanks for your time.
No, I'm here to listen. If I have to step out, I definitely will, but I really appreciate you guys inviting me. Also, just thank you for having me and happy holidays, everyone. And yeah, happy winter solstice.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Okay, so now we'll introduce Captain Kristen Suarez. She's of the 7-0 precinct.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm actually, like I was just introduced, I'm Captain Suarez. I'm the executive officer of the 7-0 precinct. For those of you who don't know me, I think I met majority of you by now. I've been here for like a year. I'm filling in for Deputy Inspector Esposito. She's actually on vacation this week. Just to start off, just a breakdown of what's been going on in the 7-0 command. Unfortunately, I'm sure most of you heard, we took a homicide the beginning of last week on Tuesday, December 14th. A tragic situation where we lost a young 20-year-old male to a robbery that went wrong. I would refer it definitely as an isolated incident. The young gentleman came in, basically was looking for money from the registry. The situation went badly as the employee tried to struggle to put an end to the situation, and unfortunately ended up being shot in the head, and was pronounced on that day about an hour or so later. So we lost the young gentleman of our community. On our end, we already know who the person is in question in regard to this terrible homicide that occurred. Warrants and the 7-0 precinct detective squad is already on the case, and we're already hunting for the gentleman. We actually knew who the gentleman was the day right after. Within 24 hours, we already had the name. So just so the community is aware of it, that we're on top of it. Our detective squad is on top of it. Like I said, working with the warrants team and putting an apprehension to this guy and closing out the case. The video that was provided by the store obviously helped us out a lot. So like I said, it was a tragic situation. The command is on top of it, and we're trying to make that apprehension that they're working on right now as we speak and ensure this doesn't happen again. I know the CEO would say it if she's here, something like this doesn't get tolerated. Besides not even being tolerated in our community, it doesn't get tolerated citywide. So we're heavily on the case. Other than that, our crime for the 28-day period, what we're heavily up in right now is grand larcenies. That's what we've been struggling with, our property crimes, burglaries, robberies, grand larcenies. But when you narrow it down and put a focus to it, it's mostly our grand larcenies. And when I talk about grand larcenies, there's a couple things. Can you guys hear me? I think I muted myself by accident. Good? Okay, so when I talk about grand larcenies, there's a few things that comes in hand with grand larcenies. There's grand larcenies from a person. For the year, we're totaling about 80 grand larcenies from a person. When I talk about taking property from a person, I'm talking about con games, which you guys are all aware about, selling things on Craigslist, selling things on Facebook, people meeting up and removing property from someone without giving them the money. That's huge. It's been huge for years around. Extortion, we're talking about lies over the phone. Very, very common nowadays. People calling, pretending to work for companies, pretending to work for utility companies, Verizon, and requesting credit card information, requesting personal information such as social security numbers, date of births, name. Also grand larcenies involving electronics. Huge from removing off of people. When we talk about vehicles, grand larceny from vehicles is extremely, extremely, extremely high nowadays. We have 120 for the year. This is basically for you guys to spread the word to the community, which I know we do here at our Build-A-Block meetings, and I know we do them at our community council meetings. The main key to end the grand larceny from vehicles is locking the doors to the vehicles. You'd be surprised how many people leave their doors open. We're taking packages out. You're trying to get the kids out of the car. It happens very easily. People leave very expensive items in their vehicle, including large amounts of money, checkbooks, iPads, credit cards, debit cards, expensive jewelry, large expensive items that are being removed just by opening the door. They go by, they check the door, they open up the door, they peek inside for a quick 5-10 minutes, and they find one of these items and they're removed. So I know my community affair guys, my crime prevention officers, they've actually been going out to do presentations on this to prevent all these grand larcenies from occurring. But the main key from things from the vehicle is locking the doors. Grand larceny, identity theft. I know this is talked about a lot. Community affairs, NCOs, and crime prevention have been going out to try to battle this and share the tips that we've been trying to get. We've also been posting a lot of tips on social media in regards to identity theft. Basically, don't share any of your personal information via social media. No Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram. Whoever starts sending random messages, asking questions in regards to personal information, do not share that information. Never give your personal information over the phone. If you need to verify, call the original company back. I've had the same thing happen to me. I think we all have scam alerts on our phones nowadays that they pop up. Some days it doesn't pop up as a scam alert. Some days the call actually gets through. So make sure you verify or hang up the phone and reach out to the precinct and let us know you have someone calling through. We always have someone come by and verify to see if it's actual real or not. A lot of our grand larcenies are also coming from emails. A lot of social media stuff, emails, people getting random emails asking for personal information. Don't respond back to these emails. Do not share your personal information. Any credit card info that they're asking through sort of messages, same exact thing. Don't share your credit card information. Call back American Express, Citibank, Chase, and try to talk to an employee to verify if someone's actually reaching out to you or not. Shred all of your bank statements. There's no reason to keep them. If you actually get a paper copy that comes in the mail, take that information and shred it if you can, whether you shred it at home or shred it at work. If you do become a victim or you know anyone of the community that becomes a victim of grand larceny, identity theft, or any one of these things I spoke about, have them reach out to one of the credit bureaus. I know they do the credit checks for free now to see if that they could help in any sort of way. Last but not least, tax season is coming up. It's right around the corner. Make sure, I would recommend that the refunds, I know a lot of people do checks, and that's when it mostly falls into the problem. Try to get your tax guys to refund you the money via maybe debit card or into your checking/savings account. The checks is where we run into the problem. I know we had that scam citywide a year or two ago where people actually were putting things into the mailboxes and pulling out these checks and cashing people's checks. It's better to get everything wired straight to your account. Or even if you don't want to get your check wired straight to the account, you also could actually request to have your check sent to your post office, and even go through that way to picking it up out of your post office. Our crime prevention officer, my community affair officers, the NCOs, a lot of our victims in regards to these grand larcenies have been mostly senior citizens, unfortunately, targeting the most vulnerable people. And we've been going out. I think our units hit about 4 or 5 senior centers last month, just trying to share these tips that I'm giving out to you guys, which I hope you share with your family in the community as well, and trying to prevent as much as we can, especially with the holidays coming. I mean, I know we're basically around the corner from Christmas, but obviously Amazon packages being delivered on the porches from Amazon, from Walmart, from all these places that we're shopping to bring presents for our family. Just make sure you're tracking, you know, I do the same thing. I track the email on my phone, and when it comes on my step, I even have a neighbor or my sister run by my house to grab it for me to make sure I'm not a victim of package theft, because unfortunately around this time that happens a lot. With that being said, if the CEO could be here, I know she would say the same thing I'm going to say. Definitely have happy holidays, a happy new year. Hopefully, you know, I know things are getting a little uncomfortable again with COVID going around, but hopefully we could come back strong for 2022 to be our year, citywide for the NYPD, for the community, and overall everyone. So other than that, unless anyone has anything they would like to share or any questions they got for me.
Shahid Khan has a hand up.
I can't hear.
He's not muted. He's muted.
Oh, I think he's muted. I still can't hear, right?
Zahid, unmute yourself.
Yes,
Okay, I
dear
can hear.
Captain. Now we are involved and working with community board last 7-8 years, and we are visiting and listening all these things last so many years.
Okay.
And we are also working together, community, police, everything. And we have youth officer, we have motivation campaign, education program, NGO, everything. So can you please advise us, or can you please suggest us that what are the basic reasons that, and what are the solution of this kind of everyday gun violence, everyday target killing, everyday snatching, everyday robbery, everyday. So what is there any social problem or any counseling problem, so what is the problem of these crime every day? There is non-stop.
Well, I mean, listen, we live in New York City. There's going to be crime. There's always crime. Our job is to try to minimize the crime and bring it down. And one thing I could say, my guys and the CEO's guys, the 7-0 Precinct, as well as the other members of the New York City Police Department, these guys are out there every day. They're out there every day. They're trying to get the job done as best as they can. When a crime does happen, we work hard right away to get that video footage, to get that canvas, to find out who that guy or who that female was, or whoever it may be, so that we're on top of it and we're trying to make arrests within a certain amount of time. Unfortunately, you know, you can't prevent everything, but we try our best to be out there and to prevent as much as we can. If it does happen, we're on top of it as quick as we could be and try to execute our plan to make an apprehension as quick as we can. The presence is out there, though. They're out there. They've been out there, especially for the holidays. We've been out there even more. Presence all over, trying to prevent certain things from happening. But like I said, unfortunately, you know, we can't prevent everything. So then we react to it as best as we can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Florencia, you have Ann Godet and Gail Smith, both with raised hands.
Okay, who was first, please? Was it
I
Ann?
believe, Ann, were you first?
Okay, go ahead, Ann. Okay.
Okay, happy holidays. Thank you for an informative presentation to both. I'd like to just say, to ask a question after making a comment. I think for in terms of scamming and phishing and other such episodes, it's important to be mindful that if you do not initiate the call to the company, don't release a thing, even if they have part of the issue. You know, like part of what they say may be correct, but better for you to call them back. So thank you for reinforcing that. I appreciate that. But I do have a question concerning the recent shooting in the area. What's the likelihood of, you mentioned that you're trying to, that the NYPD is trying to trace and capture this shooter. So what is the likelihood of this person being released on early bail or, you know, pending prosecution if it gets that far? Thank you.
Okay, so basically what happens is when we apprehend an individual, and this only isn't just for this case, even though this case obviously is taken extremely seriously, myself or the CO, we confer with the district attorney's office. We look at the background history of things that went on, and we confer with the district attorney's office. People higher than us actually confer with the district attorney's office to try to make sure an individual stays behind bars where they need to be after an apprehension. So can I tell you exactly what may happen after this individual is apprehended and how it may go exactly? No, but I do know for a fact that we all confer together before any sort of bail is set or anything is released to ensure someone should be kept where they should. That's the best I could probably make it at this point.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. Enjoy your holidays.
You too.
Gail?
Okay. Yes, thank you. In fact, Officer Suarez, I had the opportunity of seeing you, not meeting you, during last week's 70th Precinct holiday party. And during that time too, Commanding Officer Esposito had spoken to the members, the participants there about that unfortunate killing of that 21-year-old. And thank you again for your very extensive and detailed report. My question may be answered by you or perhaps even Mr. Meyer, I'm not sure, but since, as we all know, during the pandemic, you know, with the shootings and a lot of what has been going on has been, you know, with the youth, with our youth, a lot of it. So my question is, how is the 70th Precinct engaging with the youth during the pandemic?
Okay, so that's actually a very good question because actually the youth is a main topic right now.
Could you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Captain Suarez, you're clear on my end. Gail, that might be your own connection. Maybe turn your video off.
I have.
Yeah, Captain, I'm reading you clear on this end.
I'm hearing you.
Better? Okay, so as I was saying, that's actually the youth is actually a main topic.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm having problems hearing you. You're breaking up.
Gail,
But that may be me, I don't know.
Gail, can you hear me? Can you hear anybody else? Are you also having trouble hearing me? It's Sean.
I hear you, Sean. I hear everyone else. I hear everyone fine.
We're hearing Captain.
Do you
Crofton.
want me to-
No, I hear Sean.
I'm definitely off muted.
Yeah, no. So Gail, maybe turn off your video. Anya, do you have any other technical advice?
What would be the best that I could suggest to you, Gail? Maybe turn off the video. I'm hearing everyone fine on my end. I hope everyone else is, but
I don't think she could hear.
turning off
Turn off the video?
Yeah, that might
Yes.
help.
Try again, Captain Suarez.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me? Okay, so
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
okay, so as I was saying, for Gail, that's actually a great question because the youth is actually has been a main topic.
Breaking up again. I guess it's mine. I don't know.
Gail, it is yours. So let's let Captain Suarez complete her answer. We are going to videotape it and you can go back to that. If you would mute yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so as I was saying, the topic of the youth actually has been a main topic throughout the year. Not only for the 7-0 precinct, but we're talking about all the way from 1 PP down to below. How to engage the youth, how to get them more involved, how do our officers engage and connect with the youth. So what we've been doing in our command is we have obviously our YCO officers, those are our youth officers, as well as our neighborhood coordination officers, our NCOs, who go out every day to openings and dismissals of schools. We're out there engaging with them. Also, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the Chief of Patrol, Chief Holmes. She actually came out with a bunch of programs this year to try to engage the youth to get them off the streets and get them more into being productive and doing things with our officers. We actually had a yearly Blue Chips tournament, which was a basketball tournament this year that involved getting our officers playing with with a bunch of different ages of kids. We had a ceremony down for them at One Police Plaza that I actually attended because the 7-0 precinct came in 2nd or 3rd place. That was a nice event. As well as flag football and a bunch of things that has been going on citywide to try to engage the youth to become closer with the department and how do we communicate with them and become more on the same page. So besides the reaching out we personally been doing in the command at the schools, overall citywide, we've also been doing a lot with the youth as well. So we're definitely on board with it. We're always looking for advice to make things better if anyone has any, but believe me, the department and us, we're definitely on point with that.
Captain, can I just piggyback on that real quick? I just want to throw something out as well. This is Zach again from OIG NYPD. I've been attending throughout the past couple of months a couple of these street meets that are hosted by Assistant Commissioner O'Connor, who's head of youth strategies for PD. And whenever there's a shooting, he essentially, I shouldn't say for every single shooting, but for serious incidents involving kids, right, he'll take a group of YCOs and NCOs out from different commands that cover that area, and he brings them to that location, and then he sort of tells them about different strategies and asks them and drills them on how can we address this going forward? How can we prevent this going forward? What are ways that we could talk about it? So I've seen with my own eyes, from the oversight perspective, the PD really taking this as a very serious issue, and it's coming, as the captain said, this is coming from 1 PP. There are strategies coming down from the top, all the way from, in addition, you see Deputy Commissioner Parker, Chauncey Parker, who leads the Saturday Night Lights program, right, where they give kids, especially during the summers, opportunities to come out on the weekends, get on the courts, get out there, really engage with each other, engage with the department. So sorry about that, Captain. I just wanted to throw out those two other things just because I've been engaging with them so much, and it's just such a great program. So I just want
there's been a lot going on with the youth. Just like I can piggyback off what you said, a lot been going on with the youth.
Yeah, and thank both of you. After I stopped my video, I was able to hear both of you. So thank you very much. And happy holidays too.
So co-chairs, I don't see any new hands up. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to, I didn't, Captain, maybe I missed it, but I didn't hear you mention the Explorers program was another youth connection in the precinct, and your Explorers are always really helpful with our events like our youth conference, and I know they're out there covering a lot of graffiti and showing up to a lot of different places in the community, and and we watch them. I've watched a few of them kind of grow up into the job, so that's pretty cool. And your YCOs do a really terrific job. And then there's the initiative that, Officer Joseph kind of deserves a shout out on this because he's taken a lot of initiative on engaging youth and looking for resources. And so, as I said earlier, I think 7-0 is really ahead of the curve on this, and look forward to working with you to go a few steps further.
Also, may I say that there's an OSHA program from 7L where they're, I think it's hosted right now. One of the host sites is one of our pastors from the 7L Interfaith Precinct Clergy Council that is hosting that, where the youths are being paid to learn a skill. So, and that we know that is a bigger part of the problem also. For many of the youths, they, it's lack of funds, and it's a whole, I think, Sean, we need, other agencies involved. It's education, it's jobs, it's a whole, it's not just, we can't just put the responsibility in one agency. So, but we thank you very much for, is there anyone else, Sean?
It looks like Shahid Khan put a hand back up. You have to unmute Shahid.
I have one follow-up question with regarding to Inspector and Zarek, that police deputy commissioner or police hierarchy, they are meeting with the youth and everything. So I think if we suggest if we sit together with Stamino Precinct or one PP regarding the youth development programs, like maybe we need more cultural programs, maybe we need some more recreational program, maybe we need some more school level program or language program, so they understand and we understand, and the one PP or 7 percent, so the whole team understands. So what is the basic dilemma of this diversity of population? Actually, we have one of the diversity of this area is beautiful, but also is very technical. So how you understand or how you tackle all these diversity based communities? So this is also one of the biggest problems. So if we sit together at any avenue and we talk about more cultural, recreational, language, counseling level programs, so this will be more fruitful. Thank you. So if anybody want to comments, Inspector or Zarek, so will be welcome.
In regards to what you just said, sir, like I said, the commanding officer and myself, community affairs, if, like I said, if people have ideas that we could definitely work together more, I'm 100% sure that the CEO and myself would be perfectly fine to set something up through community affairs, and we have a sit down and try to share these ideas together to try to come up with new problems or new solutions to these problems. So that would definitely be open for that. Yes.
And from my end, I would love, same thing. I want to articulate the exact same thing, that we'd love to hear any ideas that you have in a way that can build greater, right? I said before, one of our 4 pillars is building stronger community relationships between community groups and the police department. So if you have ideas that sort of go towards that foundational principle of our agency, please bring them to us, and we'll find ways in which you can partner with PD in various ways, and we'd love to discuss that further. So yeah, I know it's echoing basically what the captain just said, but I just want to articulate it from my agency's perspective as well.
And we at the community board will get to work on facilitating that, so that conversation can happen while everybody has their head full of all of this really good information. To the co-chairs, Abe Treff and Florencia Changajeda, I do not see any new hands up.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules. We know we're approaching Christmas for those who celebrate Christmas or Kwanzaa or winter solstice, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate. Just please be safe, everyone. And, we look forward to a wonderful new year. And thanks everyone for coming out. who's going to motion for adjourn? Or is there any comments that you have to make, Sean, or any closing remarks? Okay, all right. That being said, thank you once again for coming out. And who would like to motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
of
Time
course.
is
Second.
7:17, right? So if you're noting the time.
Okay, thanks, Anne.
Stay well. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays,
And let's have a
everyone.
healthy and
Happy
happy
holidays.
2022 to come.
Yes.
I shut the
Shut the
whole.
fuck up.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone. For
Happy
joining.
holidays, everyone.
Merry
Good night.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Take care,
Florencia.
Captain.
All righty, good